10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. I'm glad to be here with you for a special Friday edition of Sudbury News Talk on CKLU 96.7 FM. The Friday half an hour edition, just a half a show just before we head off into this weekend. And we'll have as good of a show as we possibly can in a half an hour. And we're also streaming live at cklu.ca. You can just click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can stream us. You can download it, take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. That's your favorite device. And while you're there, just check out the merch. And by purchasing the merch, you support the station. And if you already have the merch or you don't need it, just drop us a donation. We really appreciate it because without you, we wouldn't be here. It really does. We rely on your support, financial support, time and efforts. If you want to volunteer here, we're just based on volunteers basically and financial donations from the wonderful people like you here in Greater Sudbury and abroad. Thank you so much for being on. We're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Thanks for hanging in there and waiting for us. I know, you're probably doing other things while you were waiting for the show to come on, but my apologies. I could have given a heads up, but dealing with a few technological issues on this end, I just figured, hey, let's just have a half an hour show today and we'll make the most of it. We'll have a power-packed show. We're also found on demand after on the two platforms, Facebook and YouTube. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow. And we're also going to be found at x.com/Sudbury News immediately following the show, and Sudbury.news. You click on the Sudbury News Talk tab and you can watch the show afterwards. But make sure to comment because we'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. And we're going to dive right in with some weather when we're going to talk about the where the money is going from the revenue from the speed cameras. That's just reported on this morning, along with the new locations for the speed cameras here in Sudbury, and a little deep dive into Mark Carney and the conflict of interest that everybody already knew, or at least the people who look into real news knew that there was going to be a conflict of interest, and Brookfield is knocking on the door already for favors from Mark Carney. And so it begins. We will be back right after the weather. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. I promise. So your money back. And Sudbury weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Currently it's 9 degrees. It is cloudy. Today we can expect mainly cloudy, 60% chance of showers late this morning and this afternoon. Risk of thunderstorm this afternoon as well. Local smoke late this morning and afternoon. Here we go with the smoke from the fires. That's the world we live in these days. High of 20 today. Tonight, mainly cloudy, 60% chance of showers this evening. Risk of thunderstorm early this evening. Local smoke early this evening. The wind will be moderate, but then gusting up to 40 later this evening. Low of -5 overnight. Again, so yesterday there was 4 sun emojis going across Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, just sun. So today it's a bit different. I said I believe it if I see it, and I'm not seeing it anymore. So mix of sun and cloud for Saturday, high of 16. 30% chance of showers on Sunday, high of 19. And then sunny for Monday and Tuesday, 23 and 26. And then 30% chance of showers for Wednesday and Thursday, high of 25, high of 21. Look at your satellite at the moment. Cloudy. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more in this special edition on this Friday, a special half-hour edition when we come back right after this. Okay, and we got a few people already on, and I know a lot of people may have, thought the show wasn't going to be happening today and aren't on, but we almost have the full gamut of people. And good morning, Nana, and blessings, everyone. I can't watch the show today, but I'm thinking of you. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, thanks for checking in, Nana. I appreciate that. And good morning, Northern Hillbilly. Monique is here. Good morning, Monique, with a smiley emoji. Marvin from Alberta is on. Good morning to you. Bright and early over there. Judy, good morning to you. Hazel, good morning. Prayer emoji, much needed. Thank you very much. And Lorraine, good morning, everyone. Jerome, good morning from Glencore Smelter Shutdown. And thanks for the videos you shared this morning. Jerome, I had a chance to check out a couple of them, half at a time, or whatever. I'll get back to them today. And Pierrette says it was going to be a sunny weekend till they sprayed the skies above. Possibly, yes. All we know is that it changed. It was supposed to be all sunny all the time for 4 days in a row, according to the forecast, but obviously things change, right? And that could be a very good reason for it. And Liette says, good morning, hand clap emoji from Collingwood. And Vin, good morning to you. Larry, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being on. Northern Hillbilly says, speed cameras for your safety, like poisonous. The solution for the problem 4 years ago was for your safety too. I'm moderating and translating as we go, just for certain words to be picked up in algorithms that they don't like that I'm catching on to. So Jerome says, we are the faithful. Yes, for sure. LOL. And much appreciated for being on, guys. So yeah, talking about the speed cameras, this reported from our good friend at Tyler Clark at Sudbury.com. It is proposed and it's been sustained by City Council that we are going to have the funds that are the revenue from the speed cameras going to slow down more traffic. No, not to make roads smoother, make roads slower. So they're going to put in infrastructure that slows down traffic. The city is ramping up traffic calming efforts, with City Council members recently approving the use of automated speed enforcement camera revenue to pay for it. While recent years, they've seen city budget allowing for only one traffic calming feature to be added per year, 2006 will see 8 by the boosted camera revenue. So, whatever, those speed bumps or those yellow pylon-y things in the road. So they'd only do one of those per year. Well, now we get 8 per year. It's anticipated public consultation takes place this year and next, with tendering and construction taking place in 2026. Many of the locations have been on the city's calming list for more than 15 years, but haven't been funded. City Traffic and Transportation Manager David Knutson noted in his report, traffic calming is just that, a technique to reduce the impacts of traffic on neighborhoods and public facilities such as parks, schools, and areas and community centers, according to the city's website. Although speed bumps are the most commonly recognized traffic calming infrastructure, signs, curb extensions, traffic circles, raised median islands, and raised crosswalks, and intersections are other examples. The city's flexible bollards, those kind of like yellow looking things that are put into the, right into the asphalt, and they look like just yellow sticks, bollards. They're a temporary solution, as the city has been adopting in recent years to tackle the city's list of 37 roadways which qualify for traffic calming until such time as permanent infrastructure is put in place. The top ranked location in the city for traffic calming infrastructure will be Brenda Drive from Moonrock to St. Charles Lake Road. It's anticipated that speed bumps or speed tables, elongated flat-topped raised sections of the road, that is, will be the selected traffic calming measure of choice. However, the location will still be subject to public consultation and final design, according to a report by Knutson earlier this year. Other locations slated for calming infrastructure are Lansing Avenue, Grandview, Bancroft, King Street, Kelly Lake Road, Robinson Drive, Auger Avenue. The city also installing an electric speed display sign on Field Street, which shows how fast vehicles are traveling against the speed limit, and spending $20,000 on an education campaign. So this is where the revenue is going from. And good morning to you, Penny. Thanks for being on. And Mikey, good morning to you as well. Good morning, everyone. It's been a busy few weeks. I haven't been able to check in. Well, you are today on our truncated half an hour edition of the show. Good morning, Marianne. Penny says, I guess huge potholes can be seen as traffic calming. Always said that myself. I've always said that myself for sure. And I would think it is. I don't know. It's calming, but at the same time, it's dangerous because you're always swerving into the other lane trying to avoid them and possibly being stopped by police for possible impaired driving, being suspected of impaired driving. Between work and grandma falling and breaking her hip, then having a stroke, then passing away. I'm sorry to hear that. Life's been pretty hectic. Sorry to hear that, Mikey. My condolences to you. And thanks for sharing that, by the way. Vince says have the pavement to build speed bumps, but not to fill potholes? Question mark. Marvin in Calgary says, in Calgary, they're taking some speed cameras down, deemed speed traps, and just a cash cow, right? I remember the Alberta government saying that they admitted they're just revenue generating. They actually don't help with safety. One way of saving money, eh? Okay, that's Marianne. We want to know who conducted these petitions. Were they conducted, where they were conducted, and report the numbers of votes for sure, because we saw the polling from Sudbury.com yesterday that showed that people aren't really in favor, right? But we're being told that most people are. Northern Hillbilly, until we trust the system again, always keep an eye on your 6 because they want you unalived. I think that's what it says. I'm not sure, so I'm just trying to read early in this morning. My eyes aren't the greatest. Police state economy. The citizens are the prey, and that's Pierrette. Betty, good morning from Niagara. Thanks for being on, and no problem, Mikey. Marianne, exactly what they are. They tell you where they are, so no liability on them. They also collect data on everyone, which is an invasion of privacy. That's speaking of the cameras. And speaking of these petitions that were put forward, like how many votes were there? So if, let's say you had a petition, there was 100 people on the petition, but there's 10,000 people living in your community. Okay, well, that's only 100 people. Did you put a referendum out there to see? That would be great. I like referendums, right? They're like the polls, but they don't do that. And there must be a reason why they don't do referendums. They can just say many people say, and then they get, oh, okay, many people wanted it. That's why they're doing it. And good morning, Sheila from Quebec. Okay, the city's slate of 6 automated speed enforcement cameras have been active since March 22nd, 2024, and resulted in the issuance of 12,796 tickets last year. These tickets resulted in a total set fine sum of $1,344,237 and a net revenue of $753,000. Okay, get this. So this needs to be looked into a little bit more. There was $600,000. That's what it costs for these. It costs $600,000 to make $753,000. So that's a lot of cost, actually, for these things. So no one's looking into that. Why does it cost so much? Holy crap. In addition to the aforementioned traffic calming efforts, the funds are also being drawn from to pay for the city's expanded flexible bollard traffic calming program. So not only are we going to get 8 installed, by infrastructure traffic calming measures, we're going to get more of these bollards everywhere. The city's going to be insane. You might as well just take, those scooters around instead of cars. I think that's what the city needs to do, is buy everyone a scooter, and that way no one can speed. Everyone will be happy. No one will get to where they're going on time, but at the same time, what the heck? Like, instead of saying, oh, we're making these things to increase traffic flow to help the economy and help the citizens of Sudbury get to where they need to go because they pay lots of taxes, and that's what they expect. And good morning, Belinda. Glad could catch up on the show. Yes, for sure. And we're already halfway done. So instead of, making sure that the city can have better roadways and get around quicker, we're slowing everything down. Bollards are those yellow posts. Yeah, they're okay. In the city's 2023 budget, City Council approved expanding the bollard program from 10 locations to 28. They're going to triple the locations. Paid for by the automated speed enforcement revenue. Why not just pave the friggin' roads? A staff report on the city's Gateway Speed Limit pilot project is anticipated by the end of the year. The city's 6 mobile automated speed enforcement cameras are anticipated to become active in their new locations on this Monday. So if you're wondering when they're going to be active, they are on Monday. This is from Sudbury.com staff. So the locations are Municipal Road 80, Hanmer, between Main Street and Yorkshire Drive. I think that's pretty much in front of Mary Brown's Chicken, right on a 4-lane highway. Like, it's like you picture 4-lane highway. What do you expect? You should be going as slow as possible on a 4-lane highway. Like, it's just to generate revenue, these things. I mean, it is what it is. It's a cash grab. Kelly Lake between Copper Street and Southview Drive. That's one of the new cameras. Calmo Road, the very hilly road that connects Main Street in Valcarron to pretty much Notre Dame in Hanmer, sorry. So Notre Dame Avenue in Hanmer between Linden Drive and Oscar Street. I think that's right around Hanmer High. Berrydown Road, LaSalle and Lillian Boulevard between those two streets. Falconbridge Road between Donnelly and Church Street. Again, a 4-lane highway pretty much. We're putting these speed cameras. I don't know. The cameras have been operational since March 22, and have generated almost $800,000. But we're going to be using the money to slow down more traffic. We're not going to be using the money to make, the roads any smoother and built better. We're just going to be making them to slow people down. And like was said, I thought the potholes were already there to slow people down. I know with me, I slow down for potholes all day, every day. And now, switching to national news, what we all knew would happen is the conflict of interest that is Mark Carney, that was really not covered by mainstream media because he promised them more money when he was elected, is happening already with his former company Brookfield coming looking for handouts because they're looking for favors in return, right? You're elected now, so here we go. Mario for the North, always on guard for thee, always looking out. He's got his elbows up, so watch this. You may not be shocked, but you'll be informed.
I'm going to buy 75 grand worth of Brookfield shares tomorrow because of this guy. Not that he's the Prime Minister of Canada, same company that he was in charge of, the chairman of. Well, those companies that Brookfield owns are now reaching out to Carney and asking him for help. It happened just 2 days after the Liberals won the election. April 30th, 2 oil and gas companies owned by Brookfield joined 36 others in signing an open letter to Prime Minister Mark Carney. The group urged him to speed up resource development by easing regulations and fast-tracking approvals. For example, there's a natural gas company, North River Midstream, whose CEO, Brandon Anderson, in more than 14 years of him overseeing and contributing to lobbying efforts, he had never, ever at any point contacted the Prime Minister directly until today. Now that Mark Carney is the Prime Minister, he reached out directly to Mark Carney asking the government to consider North River in their investment decisions. A political science professor at U of T explained that the communications like that one would typically be blocked by a conflict of interest screen. Make sure that Carney is not involved in any decisions that affects any company he once chaired. But here's the thing. Because Mark Carney refused to disclose his holdings before putting them into a blind trust, it's very likely that Brookfield funds still remain in his financial portfolio, especially given that he had $6 million American worth of stock options. Not shares, not previous compensations that he'd earned. These are stock options that are net new on top of what he might already have. Here's the crazy part. There's a legal gap right now that exists that allows Mark Carney to be his own judge and jury. Listen to this. Under the current Canadian law, the Federal Ethics Commissioner, he can look into the complaints, but Carney himself is the person who ultimately decides whether any contact he had with any Brookfield-linked firms violates or complies with the Conflict of Interest Act. Other than getting a $500 fine, which applies to some filing deadlines and other matters, the commissioner is powerless. Can't do anything other than report, there's been a violation. He's been naughty. As it stands right now, if Mark Carney were to violate that act, Mark Carney gets to decide what to do about it. As many of you know, Mark Carney appointed Evan Solomon, his former art broker dealer, who was fired for selling him art, as the first minister of AI. There's a massive push to roll out the infrastructure for that. As AI grows, Brookfield's relying on Canada for energy. And so executives are expecting energy needs to spike. Puts them in a position to be at arm's length with Mark Carney, where he benefits, and now I will too.
And it's interesting how he said, and now I will too, because obviously he invested in the same things knowing what was going to happen as a business person. As a business person, he invested in the companies that Mark Carney has invested in and wants to see grow. So Mario invested in those companies, knowing that once he was prime minister, the stocks were going to go through the roof because he was compromised and it was a conflict of interest, and he knew that he was going to favor these companies. And so he's going to get rich too off of it. Again, right? This is crazy. This is clown world. And I see how Vin said that his 6 million now turned into 8 million since he was elected, right? So elbows up, the rich get richer, and it's always a way to just keep. I don't know if you see that is going on. I appreciate what Mario did by investing in the same companies, seeing where it was going to go, because he knew that, and people could all they want say no, that's not going to happen, or Mark Carney said everything's okay, don't worry about it. He knew what was going to happen, and so while he's keeping pipelines from being built in Canada, he's buying pipelines, his companies are buying pipelines in the United States, buying companies in third world or countries that have oil pipelines and getting rich off of it. As he keeps our oil in the ground, he keeps supply low, which keeps costs up because it's supply and demand. It keeps the demand up, which raises prices, because he has the ability to keep the oil in the ground in Canada without getting it, because he's in a position to decide that. So he decides to keep the oil in the ground in Canada and not extract it, keeps the demand up in the world because there's less oil on the market, raises up prices, and raises his profits. It's really not rocket science. It's pretty simple. The question is he doing that? Or is he, I don't know, somehow benevolent enough to overlook his own interests to for the betterment of Canadians, right? And this is interesting. Denise is sharing a really cool bunch of information here about the fires that we're going to be seeing and why they're being, what they are, where they're coming from, how they're being allowed to continue. And you can read that. It's pretty elaborate and pretty cool and pretty spot on, Denise. Thanks for sharing that. The fires have been suspicious from day one. I know a lot of the fires have been started by arsonists historically over the last few years. We know this. A lot of people have been arrested. And the media has really turned a blind eye on the amount of arsonists that have been out there starting these fires that have been just simply easily packaged up with a bow and said that they're only due to climate change. That's why there's a bunch of fires out there. You need to be afraid. And you need to be taxed to death and accept a lot of things that you wouldn't normally have accepted in your personal freedoms because these fires and because climate change, right? So again, thanks for sharing that. I hope everyone can read that. And thanks for being on. I know it's only been a half-hour show, but I think we got a lot done in a short period of time. You're also sharing about Bill C-309. There's so many bills that are being proposed in such a short period of time. It just, I think it's all there to just make your head spin, so you can't really digest it all or let it all percolate. And, so here's another one. Bill C-309, an act to amend the criminal code. So you need to be looking into these acts, everyone, to see what's going on by the officials that you're electing to govern over you and me. And remember to stay aware. And look into things and be able to think critically. Don't accept everything that you're given, no matter who is giving it to you. Always question it and always find out for yourself. Faith is good, but blind faith is just that. It's faith with your own due diligence and understanding and going into it with an amount of knowledge is always better than blind faith. Okay, that's all the time we had for today. I know the show just flew by because it was half a show. Hope everyone has a great weekend. It won't be as sunny as originally forecasted by Environment Canada, apparently. It was supposed to be just sun and sun and sun and sun. But now apparently it's not going to be. But there will be some sun in there. Enjoy what you can while you can. And remember to stay aware, like, share, take care. We'll be back same time, same place. There may not be a show on Monday. There's a slight chance there may not be. But I'm still planning on doing it. So if we're not there, I've given you a little bit of a heads up on that. We'll be back regardless on Tuesday for sure. Have a great weekend, everyone. Remember to like, share, take care, and stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.